Hey, welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to break down the core ideas from Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. It's a book that's really built on one incredibly powerful premise, and it promises to change pretty much everything.
And this is really the core promise, right? This single idea is the foundation of a philosophy that has totally transformed high achievers all around the world. It's not just about waking up early. It's about reclaiming that very first hour of your day to build a truly exceptional life.
But to really get the power of this idea, you've got to understand the story that wraps around it. And our story, it doesn't start with some big win. It starts with a crisis. We're introduced to an entrepreneur, a woman named Elena, who has built this incredible empire, but, in the process, she's completely lost herself.
So you've got this woman who looks like she has it all, a titan of industry. But behind the scenes, a hostile takeover from her investors just leaves her feeling totally betrayed, empty, and hopeless. That sleek high-rise that used to be her symbol of success, now it just feels like a prison.
She's desperate, right? Looking for any kind of lifeline. So she decides to go to this event that, honestly, she'd normally just dismiss as a place for lost souls. It's this total last-ditch decision that ends up changing the entire trajectory of her life. So she's at this conference, and get this, the spellbinder literally collapses on stage. Total chaos. And it's right in the middle of that chaos that Elena's real journey kicks off. She meets a couple of people, and one of them makes a very strange first impression.
She runs into this guy who is just a total walking contradiction. I mean, he speaks with the authority of a seasoned master, quoting philosophers like it's nothing, but at the same time, he looks like he hasn't had a warm meal in weeks. You can imagine she's incredibly curious, but also super skeptical.
So this strange guy, turns out he's an eccentric billionaire in disguise, and he makes his unbelievable offer to fly her and an artist she literally just met around the entire world to share the secret method that made him a legend.
Okay, so that secret method, that's what we're about to dive into. This is the real meat of the book, the practical framework right at the heart of it all, the victory hour.
So the big question is, how do you basically win the day before anyone else is even out of bed? Well, the method proposes structuring that very first hour, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., into 3 powerful 20-minute chunks that are just designed for maximum impact.
All right, let's break this hour down. The first 20-minute pocket is move. This is all about intense exercise to flush out that stress hormone cortisol and release something called BDNF, which is basically like miracle grow for your brain. The second pocket is reflect. This is your time for quiet, for journaling or meditation. And the third pocket is grow. This is for learning, reading books, listening to podcasts, anything that sharpens your skills.
Okay, so you've got the formula. Easy, right? Well, not so fast. Knowing it is one thing, but actually making it a permanent, automatic habit, that's the real challenge. And the book is super clear about this. It is not going to be easy.
The book suggests it takes about 66 days of consistent practice to really rewire your brain. Why 66? Well, that's roughly how long it takes, thanks to neuroplasticity, for your brain to form new connections. After those 66 days, you hit what scientists call the automaticity point, where it's actually harder not to do the habit. And look, this whole process, it happens in 3 predictable stages. The first 22 days, that's destruction, where you're tearing down old habits. The middle phase is installation, and yeah, it feels messy and confusing, but if you stick with it, you finally reach integration, where that 5 a.m. routine becomes your new normal. Just knowing this helps you push through when it gets tough.
Okay, so we've got the morning routine down, but how does this keep going? Because let's be real, peak performance isn't about grinding 24/7 until you totally burn out. It's all about finding a sustainable rhythm. And this is where the book brings in a really key idea, the mastery of oscillation. The argument is that the greatest minds in history didn't just work all the time. They alternated between these periods of intense, world-class work and periods of deep, deep recovery.
And this slide shows you those 2 cycles perfectly. You've got the high excellence cycle, that's when you're all in, pushing your talents to the absolute limit. But, and this is crucial, it has to be balanced by the deep refueling cycle. That's where the rest and recovery happens. The book argues that growth doesn't actually happen during the performance, it happens during the recovery.
So the big takeaway here? Deliberate rest, actually unplugging, is just as productive as that deep, focused work. This means having fun, playing, and even taking what the book calls 0 device days to just let your mind breathe and incubate its best ideas.
All right, now for the final lesson of the journey. And this is where the whole thing really elevates from a simple productivity hack into a profound way of life. It's about shifting your focus from just personal success to, lasting significance.
So imagine this. They're in this tiny, historic prison cell, and the mentor reveals that true greatness, it's not forged in comfort. He explains that the world's most impactful people all faced extreme suffering, and they became great because of how they chose to use it, to heal and uplift themselves and others.
And he makes this huge point. Leadership isn't just for some special chosen few. It's for literally everyone. And it all starts by waking up each morning and working to build these timeless virtues within yourself, not for your own gain, but for the benefit of everyone.
And this is really the mentor's final plea, not just to the characters in the book, but to you, to us. It's a call to action to stop waiting for that perfect moment and to start building a life of meaning and excellence and service, starting today.
So the end game here is to stop being a tourist in the land of legacy, just visiting the idea now and then, and to actually become a lifetime inhabitant, to make it your home, your core focus.
So after all is said and done, all the stories, all the formulas, all the philosophies, the book leaves you right here. It boils down to this one simple, powerful, and deeply personal question. The theory is over. Now the practice begins.